All right, hello world, hello YouTube. It's Matt again. I'm going to let this gentleman here
I've been wondering, is there a secret race of reptile people that
discuss the reptile issue that many people are theorizing exist and have existed uh, for at least the entire time mankind has existed and been preying on us in the background. And, well, this guy did a really good job of putting it together. Mr. Buzzfeed Unsolved Network YouTube. Take it from there. Are they?
Since I was a child, I've been naturally inquisitive, questioning anything and everything that didn't quite make sense. As I grew, I poured countless hours into a number of conspiracy theories. Some of these theories I believe, and some of these theories I don't. But some of them I do. Here, I'll be studying the evidence for and against all of history's mysteries, doing the work so you don't have to, but you really should do it on your own. Like,
yes, you should.
Okay. On today's
showing
episode,
the show, but
Reptilian
I looked it up.
If you've been paying attention, you might have heard more and more references to a clandestine reptilian humanoid race. Sound familiar? It's shown up in pop culture with increasing regularity. You've heard it on podcasts, in politics. The theory has even infiltrated the hit romance reality show, Love Island. Just what are all these people talking about? Let's get into it. Okay, so as with nearly any conspiracy theory, there are usually variations in belief, but for the most part, the theory posits that there is a race of reptilians, or lizard people, if you will, and you should, that work in secret to dominate and rule over humans like you and me. Now, while the suggested origin of these lizard people varies from theorist to theorist, some say that they're from Earth, some say that they're from space, some say that they started on Earth, went to space, came back. The one thing that most folks agree on is that these motherfuckers are evil. So how do these lizard folk go from ruling in secret to getting brought up in Love Island casual contestant conversation? Well, the Reptoids can thank former soccer player, sports reporter, and hot take haver David Icke for absolutely and utterly blowing up their spot. It's also worth noting now that David Icke's ideas are kind of problematic and borderline prejudice, but we'll get to that later. In 1998, David Icke released a book called The Biggest Secret, where two people he interviewed claimed that the British royal family were not in fact humans, but lizard people. Icke also claims that George W. Bush, Henry Kissinger, Bill, and Hillary Clinton, and Bob Hope are lizard people as well. Icke says that the reptoids are responsible for the JFK assassination, Princess Diana's death, and even 9/11. According to Icke, the Anunnaki, an ancient species of prehistoric alien demigods, came from the Orion, Sirius, and Draco constellations, created humans, and then created a reptilian-human hybrid. Making sense? Right? Additionally, Icke suggests that lizard people drink human blood, which allows them to shapeshift into human form, allowing them to, I guess, then become a vaudeville legend and have an airport named after them. Icke has written that presidents and prime ministers have either been lizard people themselves or have been possessed or controlled by lizard people, and that they have had control over powerful offices.
And he's far from the only one.
Like when Shrek 1 came out. Pretty heavy stuff, right? So what is there that even supports these wild-ass claims? Well, a little bit. Kind of. Maybe. Now, while I'm not all in on the reptilian theory just yet, I will say that it's not untrue that some very powerful people objectively look like lizards. And if you watch enough footage of politicians and high-level CEOs, you will find at least a few frames of them doing odd things. Now, maybe that's because to achieve a high level of success, you kind of just have to throw out being an altogether normal person. Or maybe they're lizard people. What's most interesting is that, and this is a fact, is that a lot of U.S. presidents and very powerful people are related, very distantly, but related. For example, President Barack Obama is a distant cousin of the Bushes, Gerald Ford, Lyndon B. Johnson, Harry Truman, and James Madison, as well as Winston Churchill. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt was related, again very distantly, to 11 other U.S. presidents, including Madison, both Adams, Van Buren, Harrison, Taylor, Grant, the other Harrison, Taft, and of course, the other Roosevelt. I mean, his own wife, Eleanor, was his fifth cousin. Hell, according to genealogy experts at Genie.com, you go back far enough, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are related, 19th cousins. So is that evidence of ancient reptilian bloodlines secretly infiltrating and controlling our government? Or is it just kind of, how ancestry works? I don't know. Either way, you're going to want to know how to spot a reptoid. And that brings us to board time. Yeah. So let's start with the easy okay? Of the dead giveaways that you're talking to a lizard. We got The forked tongue. Blue or green scales instead of skin. They lay eggs. But those are easy. According to one source at Alien Hub, there are more subtle signs that someone is a lizard person or have been possessed by one.
Yeah,
Reddish
sarcasm.
hair. I didn't say it, they did. Keen eyesight or hearing. If I had keen eyesight, I would be wearing glasses to throw people off. Low blood pressure. Everything's chill, dude. ESP. UFO connections. A love of space or science. Space. A predominance of green or hazel eyes that can change color. A sense of not belonging to the human race. Oh, I don't belong to the human race. A deep compassion for the fate of mankind. Unexplained scars on the body. An affinity for those chalky Valentine's Day hearts. That's not actually on the list, but those are stones. But even without that, many powerful people exhibit many of these signs. But does that make them lizard people? Okay, so here's a conspiracy theory pro tip. And this goes for nearly any conspiracy theory. If you present evidence in the right order and don't present evidence against, you can make a compelling case. So now let's talk about the problem. Back to David Icke, the leading reptilian conspiracy theorist. He was a famous soccer player in the UK who had to retire after developing arthritis at age 21. He became political and joined the Green Party as a spokesman in
Well,
1980. He resigned
is
from the Green
going to
Party
go
in
ahead
1999,
and,
which later banned him. And he
go over some of the negative regarding the I was originally looking up at the Denver airport about Lucifer there, but just put it in real quick. Reptilians. Right? Look at the no end of, yeah, some of it's circumstantial, some of it's video.
Depression can be a really tough
After
thing to
our
go
short commercial here.
through. Fortunately, people always
And
have
you probably, if
ideas
you're watching
for
mine on
everything.
YouTube, you'll be getting a commercial and a commercial.
I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching Top 10's Net, and in the video today, we've got a weird one for you. It's the top 10 things you should know about the reptilian conspiracy theory.
Number 10. Origins. There are two schools of thought on where the reptilians came from. Some believe they evolved here on Earth, left Earth, and then mastered intergalactic travel, and then returned millions of years later. Others believe their home planet is in the Draco constellations. Supposedly, they came to Earth thousands of years ago and shared the Earth with people. Then they either decided or were forced to go undercover and hid themselves from our reality. They also started to interbreed with humans by altering our DNA, similar to the way that people alter computer code. The altering of our DNA had a twofold effect. They altered our DNA so we don't use our brain to its full capacity, putting a limit on our consciousness and making us easier to control. As evidence, some people point to the fact that we have reptile genes within our brain. In fact, the reptilian brain is the oldest of the three parts that control our brain. The second is that people with reptile DNA in them could be possessed by reptilians who live outside our realm of awareness in the lower fourth dimension. These human-reptile hybrids, considered demigods, were able to gain power in the ancient civilizations of Sumer, Babylon, and Mesopotamia. As humankind started to colonize the rest of the planet, the reptiles spread across the earth and became the royal families throughout the world. By having power in every single country, the reptilians have created a global prison that people don't even realize they're in. The prison was created by drawing country lines, which leads to endless wars and conflicts. Another way they control humans is by distracting us with media, entertainment, and even politics. They've also made the population stupid and lazy by poisoning their food, the air, and even the water.
Gladiatorial
So
ring.
just to sum it up, because...
Oh, no, I did not just do that. If it'll register. We'll just pick back up there. Because the issue is pertinent. Let's see. Let's just have continued to watch. History. If I can't get to it quick enough. Listen again, and it's not there. Lost my patience for that. Let's go do it this way. Oh, no, it wasn't that one. It was the top 10. It's top 8, top 10 things you should know.
Kroger delivery is always fresh because we check our produce at every stop.
One thing you should know is they use everything about you against you, including your patience. So try to be patient.
Ultra richer during the pandemic.
It's one of the things I'm practicing. I highly
These are
recommend it.
brains to limit their ability. They installed most, if not all, world leaders throughout history. Those leaders in turn contributed to all major historical events. Finally, for thousands of years, they've been poisoning humans. And all of this was done to ensure that they control humankind. So, right off the bat, the answer is yes. In this video, we're taking a drive to Crazy Town. Enjoy the ride. Number 9. The Reptilian Hierarchy. According to David Icke, the writer who popularized the idea of a reptilian conspiracy theory, there is a hierarchy when it comes to reptilians. Notably, there are 2 classes of reptilian, full-bloods and crossbreeds. Full-bloods are aware that they are reptilians and can change forms between their human exterior and their true reptilian skin. Also, the full reptiles are not wearing an actual physical disguise. Instead, their human shell is created through vibrations that alter the human mind, so your brain just thinks it sees a human. It's similar to how the aliens disguise themselves in John Carpenter's cult classic They Live. This explains why reptilians are 5
Seminal
feet tall
movie.
but wear a human-sized disguise.
This explains
They
it all
don't
right
actually
there.
shrink
They
in
live.
size. Our brains just register them as normal human size because changing physical size is considered impossible. On the other hand, hybrids or crossbreeds are not aware that they are reptilian and believe they are human, but are controlled from the lower 4th dimension to push forward the agenda, also known as the New World Order. Among those 2 different types, there are different races. At the top of the pecking order are the Dracos, which are winged albino reptiles. Below them is a race called the Reptoids, who do not have wings and have brown and green skin. The Reptoids are soldiers and scientists and are responsible for secret government programs and bases, such as the Montauk Project, which was an alleged group of tests done by the United States Army where they tried to develop fringe technologies like time travel. Number 8. How to spot one. Some general characteristics of the reptilians in disguise and people with reptilian DNA is that they are usually Caucasian and have piercing eyes that are green, hazel, and sometimes blue, but they can also change color. They also have low blood pressure and unexplained scars. Since they hide from humans, it may be impossible to see them, but one thing you should look for is how they act. Often reptilians and crossbreeds lack empathy, don't express love easily, are incredibly smart, and have a love for space and science. Supposedly, if you watch television in slow motion, you can get glimpses of the reptilians' true identity. Sometimes the image can be distorted and skin looks green or scaly. Teeth become distorted, and their eyes look like those of reptiles. There are plenty of videos on YouTube of people who claim they have footage of reptilians shapeshifting. Number 7. Suspected reptilian. There are a number of famous people who are suspected of being reptilian. This includes such notable families as the Rockefellers in the United States, the Rothschild family from Germany, and the British House of Windsor. It's also believed that many of the presidents of the United States are reptilian, including Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, who is apparently higher than Bill in the reptilian hierarchy, Barack Obama, and both Presidents Bush. In fact, the Bushes are an integral part of the conspiracy because of how many famous people are related to them. According to Ancestry.com, George W. Bush and Obama are 11th cousins, and Dick Cheney is his 9th cousin once removed. The blood relatives directly related to the Bushes include Abraham Lincoln, Marilyn Monroe, Pocahontas, Hugh Hefner, John Kerry, Vlad the Impaler, and Princess Diana. That means that possibly all of those people are reptilian as well. Not only have the reptilians infiltrated banking, government, and the world's royalty, but they are also some well-known and beloved entertainers like Bob Hope, Brad Pitt, and Angelina Jolie. Needless to say, with so many possible reptilian people among us, it makes it hard to trust anyone. You could even be a reptilian and not even know about it. Number 6. Blood. Blood is very important to the reptilians. For one thing, they apparently consume it. They also eat parts of human brains and apparently prefer children because they aren't as full of poison as adults. Besides just eating up blood, bloodlines are also an important feature in the reptilian conspiracy. You can supposedly tell if someone is reptilian by tracing their bloodlines. It's believed that around 4800 BC, the crossbreeds emerged from the mountains of Turkey, Iran, and Kurdistan, and started the early civilizations of Sumer, Egypt, Babylon, and the Indus Valley. This explains how humans became civilized and accomplished some amazing things. The crossbreeds kick-started them. Thanks, lizard overlords. From
Yeah,
those
they-
civilizations,
it
humans
takes-
began to
takes time.
migrate and the reptilians went with them. So Ike claims that all the bloodlines of the supposed reptilian people listed above could be traced back to that area.
Because it's
Ike
not
also
all
says that
like
there are markers in some
over-evil,
people's
just
physical
like
blood
the-
as well. He points out that from the area of the world where the hybrids originated, there are more people with an incredibly
just like there's variation among people, and some people are cruel, and some people are, even in trying to be good, are antisocial or what could be considered evil or chaotic. There's variation among the reptiles, I am sure. Even though they would have a primary drive just like human beings do, we would have our primary way of being in the workaday world, in our houses, watching our TVs, that they prompted us to create so as to replace us with the AI,
rare blood type called Rh and Rh negative.
of which I am, Rh negative, AB negative to be specific.
Other than just being rare, when a baby is born with Rh blood, their skin turns blue. This is supposedly where the term blue blood comes from. Number 5, the Bible. As proof that the reptilians do exist, David Icke points to a number of passages in the Bible. One of the most famous stories is the fall of man. In Genesis, Adam and Eve are cast out of the Garden of Eden because Eve was tempted by a serpent. Icke argues that this represents a change in human and reptilian relationships. According to Icke, reptilians used to walk the earth and humans were aware of their existence. But as we mentioned at some point, they went underground and
Sumeria,
humans all
Babylonia,
started the
Arcadia
cross-breeding
times.
process. That moment when they went undercover is called the schism, and that is what the story of Adam and Eve represents. Besides the story of Adam and Eve,
I also believe Ragnarok, the story of Ragnarok, represents the time they went underground.
another biblical passage that supposedly references the reptilians is Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 4, which reads, "When human beings began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit will not contend with humans for..."
See, and then I'm sure the reptiles learned that beauty is only skin deep. The ugly on the inside goes straight to the bone.
Rather, for they are mortal, their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. Icke says that this is again evidence of the interbreeding. Nephilim is an ambiguous term, but it is commonly believed to mean those who have descended, or the fallen ones, leading people to believe that Nephilim are fallen angels or greater beings. Icke believes that they were actually reptilians who interbred with the daughters of humans, and then their offspring became the hybrid human reptilians. Finally, in the book of Revelation, Satan is described as a serpent and a dragon, and he is cast down to earth with his angels. Icke believes that this is a Draco and his reptoids. Of course, this theory only works if you believe in the Bible, but what's interesting is that the Bible isn't the only ancient source where there are stories of reptiles interacting with humans. Number 4, snake imagery throughout the world. Other evidence that Icke points to is the fact that civilizations
Yeah,
throughout
that's
the
a
world
noun.
have reptile gods or worshipped
no.
reptile beings.
That's
One
a
notable
statue
example
of
is a
the
figurine that
Anunnaki.
was found in the area that was
Anunnaki.
Mesopotamia and is now modern-day Iraq. It's from the time period just before civilization started, called the Ubaid period, 6,500 to 3,800 BC. It is a statue of a humanoid snake creature holding a baby. Besides this pre-civilization relic, there are other stories of reptile gods and demigods found throughout ancient history. Just to name a few, Mesoamerica had a winged serpent god called Quetzalcoatl. Hindus had a god called Naga that was half human and half cobra. Apep was the Egyptian god of chaos and is depicted as a cobra. This doesn't even include how many different cultures around the world have stories of giant reptiles like dragons. Icke says that these stories of reptile gods and dragons originated from when the reptilians operated out in the open before the schism. He also points out that throughout many cultures, there are
the
stories
Matrix.
similar to Adam and Eve where reptile creatures are the gatekeepers to special places like the...
As well as Yeti or Sasquatch type creatures, Wendigo, maybe. Those creatures are known to be protectors of that underworld, hidden all around us.
Garden of Eden, or they give spiritual knowledge to humanity. Ike acknowledges that some of this may be metaphorical, but he believes that these stories are actually evidence of the schism.
Freediving is a mix between.
And the stories are also, again, of Ragnarok, and where they separated and put us in an illusional world where what the Bible would call the fallen and others would call dragons, Draco, or whatever you want to call them. They've been here influencing our society all along.
Go ahead and send the
Number 3. Connection to the Greys. If the reptilian elite New World Order conspiracy theory wasn't wild enough, the reptilians may also possibly be connected to the alien race known only as the Greys. Because, well, why not? According to a mysterious conspiracy writer named
No, because the storyline that's being presented in the conspiracy theory network that I pay attention to is that the Greys were genetically created as workers for the reptilians and the insectoid or mantis races, and another is called EBEs that are plant-based, that look like Greys, but different. Their heads are bigger, and their eyes are different. Anyway.
Jason Bishop III, the Greys are actually controlled by the Reptilians.
Yeah.
In terms of hierarchy of control, it goes winged Dracos, non-winged Reptoids, the Greys, and then us, the lowly humans on the bottom. There is even some speculation based on eyewitness accounts that there are actual crossbreeds of the Greys and the Reptilians.
Yeah.
They look just like the Greys, except they have reptile-like skin. Theorists believe that the Reptilians have enslaved the Greys, or they have formed an intergalactic alliance working together to keep humans down. Number 2.
And I personally know a woman who I have every reason to believe when she tells me she saw one that looked just like
Theorists
that
believe
one
that the Reptilians
right there in our house.
have enslaved the Greys, or they have formed an intergalactic alliance working together to keep humans down. Number 2. The Reptilians and the Illuminati. One of the most well-known secret societies is the Illuminati, and according to some theorists, they are controlled by the Dracos. This idea was put forward by a man named Stuart Serdlow, who claims he was a survivor of the Montauk Project. In his book, Blue Blood, True Blood, Conflict and Creation, he claims that there are 13 royal families of the Illuminati. The leader of the Illuminati is called the Pindar, which is shortened from Pinnacle of the Draco, and is a purebred reptile. According to Swertlow, the Pindar is the head of the Rothschild family, who has been the Pindar for centuries. The 12 other families, all of them incredibly powerful, influential, and rich, have different areas of expertise, and they control global finances, military technology and development, mind control, religion, and all the media. All 13 of the ruling families are full-blooded reptilians, but the class of individuals who support the 13 families, called the Committee of 300, are not. In fact, some of them do not even have any reptilian DNA, though most do. The Committee of 300 supports the 13 families by controlling the organizations like the NSA, CIA, Interpol, and the Mafia, just to name a few. Number 1. Their goal. The biggest question surrounding the reptilian conspiracy theory is why would they do it? Again, there is much debate on this. One belief is that they need our gold to help stabilize the atmosphere on their own planet. Another theory is that they just have a need for power and control, and they enjoy living life as rulers. A third, incredibly metaphysical explanation involves the reptilians living in the fourth dimension. Essentially, one of the main things that the reptilians try to do is cause human suffering and to ensure that there is constant conflict. The reason they want to do this is because the reptilians actually consume negative energy like jealousy, fear, and anger as a source of food. Of course, without much proof that these giant, shape-shifting, interdimensional humanoid reptiles that have mastered intergalactic travel even exist, it's hard to know what their true master plan is.
So we hope you enjoyed the ridiculous nature of that list. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, button below me now as well as below the video.
And I would say the same for myself. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And before you convince yourself it's not real, if it's not real, then why do they go to the extents to hide it? Where did that come from? Can you see that? Illuminati sword. I found this in a pawn shop in Salem. I kind of put a little string on it here and put some silver on it. I'm adapting it to my own, kind of. But if they're faking it, they are dedicated to the lie, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't think it's quite so make-believe as the world we're told to live in. Thank you. Good night, good morning, good evening, whatever the case may be, wherever you may be when you see this. Matt out.